SVG. Activated mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, so we're just waiting for the jumpy beat to pass. All right, so we are back, and if a person's curious about the time, it's now 8:43 here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Eastern Caribbean. All right, so we are going to bring a bit of positivity to this discussion a bit. For a few weeks now, we've been having conversation in relation to girls, and now we've had the conversation related to minors and that sort of thing. But just to put some positivity out there, there's a story that we came across. It was last week, actually. It was posted on One St. Vincent News. And the heading says Aecon Group sponsors program to inspire girls in SVG to pursue careers in construction. All right, so Aecon Construction Group, the company contracted to construct the port modernization port at Kingston, says it's sponsoring an initiative to inspire girls in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to take up careers in construction. In a press release, the company said the Constructing Your Future initiative to raise girls' awareness of careers in the field of construction is being presented to Form 2 students across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Aecon Construction Group, contractors of the Port Modernization Project, are sponsoring the project, which is led by a group of career construction women. All right. They're saying that we want to reach girls with a non-traditional option, at the time that they're making decisions about their future studies. Many women don't consider the construction field when they're imagining their future dream job. By letting girls know that there are many successful women who have chosen the construction path, it opens the door to thinking outside of the gender box. Alex King von Kushner said, according to the press release. All right. So the program involves Form 2 girls hearing firsthand from female construction professionals, taking construction selfies to better imagine the role, and creating informational posters to share their learning with classmates. Information is given about different types of careers, challenges and accomplishments, educational requirements, and expected salaries, the release said. All right. So there was one other part that I wanted to read. There is room for everyone in the construction industry. Construction jobs offer good rates of pay, exciting challenges, and room for career development for women as well as men. Okay, so yeah, I thought that that was a really good story that I came across. It's been one of those positive news that we saw in light of all the shootings, killings, and all the gloomy news that we've been seeing, and even in news related to girls. But I'm happy to see that the Aecon Group has taken the lead in terms of being new to SVG in a sense, and trying to, or not trying, but imparting their knowledge to the impressionable ones, because Form 2 is still a little bit impressionable, in terms of letting young ladies know that there is a future for them in the construction industry. Letting them know that they can be a part of the process, that it's not just a man's world, and they can be successful in it. So that was just one of those positive things that, let's throw out there. Let's encourage our young girls to know that, yeah, there really aren't any limits to who they are, what they can become, and the things that they can achieve. Ari?
Okay, so Aecon is a Canadian founded construction company.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's interesting to note because when you go overseas, you can see a lot of, well, it's mostly Latino women who are in construction. They get up every day, same as men, in their construction boots, their construction helmets, the safety gear, and they are working just as hard as the men, if not harder. When you go to New York, you see women hanging from buildings, painting, also the same Latino women. And I do think it's very important to encourage young girls here to diversify their field, because I know a lot of Vincentian women in engineering, and they're doing great things in and out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I do think projects like these are quite important and quite an interesting initiative, because I want to see how quickly it'll pick up here.
Mm-hmm.
Because is a money-making business. Construction is always a money-making business, and I know it is a male dominated business because of the ideology that strength is the whole identity of a man and strength isn't the identity of a woman, at least not physical strength. And I do think that this initiative and things like this really breaks down the stereotypical wall in terms of what job areas women can or can't do.
Right. And, I always like to see, because even there was a house that was being built close to me recently. And I was so happy to see a young lady there with the guys lifting blocks, mixing, what do you call that? The mixing cement, doing the stuff that the guys were doing. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was API who had a feature once on a young lady who was involved in construction as well.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I think it's API.
Is it API?
I think so.
Yeah, a feature on a young lady who was involved in construction herself. And, I was just so happy to see it. There are times when, men may want to be the weaker vessels, but we're not always the weaker vessels. Our physical strength for some of us may not be like mine is not equivalent to Aries in no way, shape, or form. But the thing of it is that you can be, as a woman, you can be involved in just about any industry that you set your mind to.
Yeah.
So let's encourage our young ladies to, and I've always had an issue sort of with the traditional expectations of what a woman should do or who she should become. And it's interesting to see that we are now getting involved in it or seeing the other sides of it, whereas it's been happening in the Western world for a bit of a while now. But this is a good move, and I trust that there are going to be other companies, local companies, taking it on board, even on a small scale. Expose girls to what architecture is. Expose them to going on a job site. A house is being, especially in the rural communities, let's say a house is being built, have these students go to let's say the house that is being built, to observe what is happening, have them ask questions, in that way they can get that first-hand knowledge and spur their interest, and break down those barriers to let them know that no profession is strictly set aside for men.
I stand subject to correction. I think there's a young lady who does like meter reading with Finrec. I knew of a young lady who was in the field with CWSA, and they're quite still feminine. They didn't change who they are, just the preferred choices of employment.
And what is always interesting for me, when you see them outside of their work clothes, they just look so different, but yeah, you can still be feminine. All right, we have a contribution here. Good morning, guys. I believe in women in construction. I myself have come through an apprentice program with women who are very successful today. I worked at LaGuardia Airport. That was done by a Black woman project owner.
I didn't even know that. I did not even know that. I don't think I ever flew through LaGuardia. But I didn't know that was a Black woman that did LaGuardia. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It is not just necessarily construction, but you can do project management. There are different fields, different sectors that you can go into.
Are a lot of Vincentian, female Vincentian engineers out there. A lot in and outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it's always great to see the stereotypical gender roles being broken down in some cases.
Yeah, so young ladies, that we sort of been on your case a bit for the past couple of weeks. Some young ladies have not put things or the situation in a positive light, but we know that there are many of you out there who are trying to be on the straight and the narrow and to advance yourselves. So again, just an appeal to it's interesting that it came from Aecon, which is not a locally based company. And maybe I am subject to correction in whether or not it has been done before by a local company. Maybe Carez, because Carez, should Carez do that? I'm not sure. But anyways, somebody directly involved in the field of construction, because even like trips to the port modernization project, I know that there have been school visits to the site. So even those other things can help to spur their interest.
I think
getting involved.
Even at Sandals, there are a number of, but I think they're also Latino. but I think at Sanders there are a number of women involved in the construction process. Anne says yes, it's in Queens, New York. I believe you're talking about LaGuardia. And you know what's funny? I didn't really understand the geography of where Queens actually started, because I didn't realize Queens was that big. So I didn't even realize that both JFK and LaGuardia was in Queens. I thought LaGuardia was part of Brooklyn until I really paid attention to the map. But that place is an interesting place.
Yeah.
But I am always for these initiatives for women, and I do really love to see them diversifying their portfolio.
Let me ask you a question here, Ari. As we're talking about this, do you feel though that men have been marginalized over the years?
In what way?
Okay, so there are a lot of women empowerment initiatives, whether in business. Do you feel that men have been sort of marginalized as we've pushed women to the fore? Have men seemingly had to take a back seat?
I still think in a majority of the workforce, it's male dominated. There are a lot of females who are now in managerial positions, who are now supervising positions, but I do think the majority is still male dominated.
And I think sometimes when you hear a lot of these projects or initiatives, you hear a lot about women's empowerment, but there are times when I feel, or I wonder if men have had to take a back seat, or the focus isn't on them as much. And now we've had a society where women are at the top, they're at the lead, they're in certain positions, and the men have not sort of kept up with the same attainment. Now, when I say that, I mean in terms of the quantity, because yes, you may have a man who is still at the head of the organization, but the majority of the employees may be female, and these employees may be very well qualified, right? So I think sometimes when I look at it, there seems to be that disparity in terms of we've advanced the women, but we're not necessarily seeing the same being said for the quantity of men being
I think I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
You're definitely seeing more female than male in the workforce. Joshua said men have been stereotyped. Stereotyped in what way? On Joshua, well, we have like a minute remaining. But yes, I wonder what he means. Stereotyped in what way?
Yeah, I don't know, but
he says in the home.
Men have been stereotyped, or women have been stereotyped?
Yeah, in the home, I think it's mostly women have been
I
stereotyped.
think mostly women have been stereotyped. We're to go out and earn a living, we have to use our education in that way, but still we're expected to carry out the traditional female roles. But that's a different topic
I feel
altogether.
like that's what a lot of women want, because as much as there are a lot more women having degrees being qualified, you would hear them say, I just want to be at home and be a housewife. And while it may sound like a joke, a lot of them are serious.
Yeah, because we're not adulting in easy, Ari. That's
what
it is.
So what?
If we could relax, no, listen to me, right? I don't want somebody minding me. I just want to win Super 6 or something to that effect and just retire. Okay.
The same energy.
I've done all the hard work already.
The same energy Carlos had for me when I said I don't vote. They're saying, oh, people fought for this. A lot of women fought for equal rights, fought for the ability to work construction, fought for the ability to do these things. But when they don't know, you're going to jump down the case and jump down the throat and say, you need to do this because people fought. A lot of hypocrisy in the arguments we be having, but there's a whole other conversation. The time is now 8:56. We're going to break, and at 9 we come back with our ECCB currency exchange rates, followed by the lotto results.